All right, everyone, we're going to paint some grapes today, and that means purple or violet. So I've put together some colors to show you, and some are mixed and some are raw, and we'll talk about them in the different range because purple is really an interesting color and very challenging to use, but it's a wonderful dark. So let's take a look at these. So these four are all raw colors: Imperial Purple, Perylene Violet, Bordeaux, and Quin Fuchsia. And these are just the purples that I have in my collection. Then there's Moon Glow, which is a warm purple. These are all pretty cool. Well, Quin Fuchsia, but it's not quite purpley purple. So Moon Glow is a combination, Daniel Smith combination, as is Shadow Violet. And the wonderful thing about these two colors is the way they separate out. So then up here I've done some mixing for you to see some different combinations that you might want to try of common colors. So Imperial Violet, which is also Dioxazine Violet, that's this one, Crazy Violet, and Phthalo Turquoise, which gives you this bluish kind of color. Then we have French Ultramarine and Quinacridone Rose, which is a very common one. Then Idanthron and Quin Red, Cobalt Blue and Quin Rose. Now the thing about Cobalt Blue is it's not a dark color. It doesn't get dark. And you can see the separations in here when you get a chance to look closely. Let me hold that up really close there. You can see the separations. Okay, and then Idanthron and Organic Vermilion, which gives this kind of grayish purple, which is very interesting. And remember that Organic Vermilion is a opaque color. It's not as transparent as the other colors that are on this picture. So there's the colors that are available to my palette. Here's my drawing, which I will also post, and then I'm going to do my grapes, but if you have grapes at home, by all means do them. And if there's another fruit that you would like to pick, so I will also be posting a picture of my grapes so that you can work from the same thing that I'm working from. All right. I'm hoping this is all on the page. All right. So the thing about the grapes is, and the first thing I'm going to do with this drawing now that it's photographed, is pull down the pencil so that I can see it, but it no longer becomes prominent. And just lightly going over it with my vinyl eraser is enough to pull it off. So I can still see the shapes. And when I drew this, a helpful hint is to start with the grapes that are in the front and then work back. Because the ones in the front are the only ones that you see the entire grape for. This one, this one, this one, you know. The rest of them are kind of molded in behind it. So, all right. Paints have been moistened and we're ready to go. And I'm holding this up, and the Perylene Violet and the Idanthron and Organic Vermilion are the closest to the grapes that I'm looking at. So I think I'm going to start with, and they've got a kind of a gray tone to them also, where the dusty looking part is. And I think I'm going to go with some Moon Glow for that. So that is the lightest color, and I'm going to do them one at a time. So I'm going to need Moon Glow, and I'm going to need Perylene Violet, and we'll see what happens. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. We'll try a different one. This is, after all, a lesson, remember, and it's important to continue to learn. Even for me, I love learning. It's like a surprise. So here we go. I'm using a This time I'm going to use a series of, this is a number 8 Jack Richardson synthetic brush. And so we're going to start with the Moon Glow. And there's really no easy way to do this. And the reason there's no easy way is because of the highlights, but I want to get this underpainting in. So I'm going to start over here. Let's start in the middle. And I've got some highlights I need to paint around. So there's my musty color, my lightish color. Let's do another one. It's up here. And again, I've got 2 light sources. That's why we got 2 dots on these. One is the light above and one is the window. All right, let's see what happens if we put the other color in with the gray. And that is a delicious color. And I'm going to come in with some Bordeaux too, which is actually made from wine. In the very front of it. All right, I'm leaving this hard edge on there now, but we can fix that later. All right. So we got this one over here, and I can't do more than 2 at a time, I don't think, because it'll dry on me. But I need these soft edges. Got a little bit of glare there. And as that sets up, I can come back in and come on, bubble. You know, with those 2 white spots, they look like bowling balls. Okay, let's come over here again with the Moon Glow. We'll do 2 more. Do this guy. He really only has the musty color on this side. And then we'll do this guy. And his musty color is a little more red, but it's still lighter. All right, and we got our highlights here. So somebody told me once that painting things that are round is very soothing and comforting, which I think that's a good thing right now. I'm into soothing and comforting during all of this. Ugh. I wanted that down here. And over here. This one actually has 3 highlights on it. Go figure. All right, let's come back to this one. All right, I'm going to come over here letting those dry, and set up because I can't really paint the ones behind them. Oh, I've got one up here that I can paint, and this is an interesting one because it's got a little bit of green in it. Not quite ripe. That's olive green. That's the Bordeaux. I actually like them to mix a little bit there. Bordeaux here as well, and we've got a stem there that I want to leave. There we go. And our moon glow. I don't remember what it's called, the stuff on top of the grayish stuff on top of the grapes. Color got a little bit strong in here. I'm going to just lift a little bit. There we go. Same here. Come in and lift a little bit. Lift a little bit. They really do all look like bowling balls. All right, let's come over to the sky here. Same thing. Really dark in there. It's kind of shadowed. Keep them round. Okay, I'm not going to paint anymore. I want you to go ahead and do this. Don't forget that some of these will have cast shadows as well as a form shadow on them. So, but I do want to get in the stems, some of them. So I'm going to use olive green and the Perylene Maroon. And they're going to give me a nice reddy green on the big stem. This is a little brush, number 4. And these little guys, I'm going to stay with the olive green with just a little bit of one back there. Got this one here. Coming down here. So some of these we can see the crown of the fruit. And we'll come in and do some texturing a little bit later. Now the other thing I want to address before, because painting these grapes is going to take some time. It is going to take some time, and I will post the finished painting online. The other thing I want to address is the shadow, which is really awesome. All right, did I get all the stems? I think I did. And I love the way the colors have separated in here. That's very awesome. So if these grapes were fresher, these stems would be greener, but they aren't. So we work with what we got. All right. Well, there's one that I missed. Coming over here to this guy, and then it goes down, goes to this guy, but we can't see it. Okay. There's more up here. Yeah, there's one that goes over there. This one comes here. And then there's one that goes to this guy, and he's got one of those belly buttons. Okay, let me get the shadow in, and I'll talk about softening these edges, and then that should be enough to get you going. So the shadow is a different color of purple. It's more of a blue purple, like the Imperial Violet, or the French Ultramarine and the Queen Rose. So, which is very interesting to me. I'm going to go with the Imperial Violet, and I haven't really drawn that in. I'm just going to do it freehand here. You know, maybe the Imperial Violet and the Phthalo Turquoise. And the shadow is lighter than the grapes. Okay. So here's my palette. Here's my mixture. A little more. And some water, because this is way too dark. I want it to be subtle. Okay, So here's the shadow. Comes around, and really it's it's going to all have to be done in one even wash, and then I'm going to come back and put the second layer on. This comes up here. Start at one end. Don't start in the middle. Want to make sure you've got enough. All right, then we got another sticky outy one here, and one here, and one here. Keeping this wash smooth and even. So one thing, even though I'm running out of my color a little bit, I am not going to add water to that. To that mixture, because that will cause blossoms when I come in with my brush. It will change the percentage. There's nothing you can do about it. All right. Shadows in here. Now, as we get out here, we don't have the same shadow shapes. Got one over here. One back here. And in here, this is all grapes, so I don't have to worry about this. This is all the clump of the grapes. Okay. Now, one thing about this stem is that it disperses as it gets farther out. So I am going to soften that. Now, hopefully this is set up. I'm going to come back in with another layer because I've got two light sources. And I think I'll go to a smaller brush. No sense in making myself crazy. And this, because it's coming from a different direction, does not follow this outside edge here. This is a whole different shadow shape. And it looks like I missed one. That one's actually lighter. So we're good. Comes over, loops around. Kind of a squarey loop. Comes up here, comes up here. I know it looks very dark, but I think once we get the rest of the grapes on, you'll see that this is accurate. The shadow was actually this strong. In here it's very dark too. So play with your purples. Enjoy the process. We don't often paint with purple and violet. So, Now it gets lighter as it gets out there, so with the clean brush, I'm just going to put some water on that one and just let it blend. And then we have an overlap here. I'll lift that just a little bit. And that should be enough to get you going. Oh, I want to soften those edges because there are not hard edges on these things, so I'm just going to come in and with a clean brush, wet those little edges. Small clean brush. Very little water on it. And a lot of rinsing your brush off. Get that soft edge. And then if there are any real darks, I think this one's all right. This one we could use a little bit of strength over here. And I'm just going to come in and drop in a little bit of dark there and a little bit of dark there. So this is all about seeing. First it's about drawing, and I encourage you to do your own drawing as you work on this. And second, it's about seeing what's really there. And third, it's about playing with purples and violets. Have a great time.